What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the all-new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. This one is the first edition finished in sand with an MSRP at $80,000. Let's take a full look and see what is powering this off-road SUV. So I can pull the latch right here. Now you would think for 80 grand you would have gas struts, but unfortunately you still have a pretty old school hood with your prop rod. But nonetheless, once we pop that up, you're gonna see that iForce Max. So this is the 2.4 liter inline 4-cylinder turbo engine pumping out 326 horsepower with 465 pound-feet of torque. This also has 6,000 pound towing capacity, 8-speed automatic with a full-time 4-wheel drive system, and then curb weight's around 5,000 pounds, has a 17.9 gallon fuel tank, and you're gonna expect 22 miles per gallon in the city with 25 out on the highway. Got a nice insulator panel under here as well. And then closing that, moving to the styling, of course, this is extremely retro. First edition is basically the top level trim for 2024. You're gonna see a little bit of body color throughout the front, and I love the gloss black up above with this retro style grille. It says Toyota. You can also see the square shapes in the mesh, forward facing camera and more openings, a nice silver trim piece, and then a functional metal skid plate down below. We have the rigid LED fog lights, a little bit of plastic trim throughout the side with a small opening to direct some airflow. And then I really like these LED headlights. Got the retro look with the round design, and then just a really nice design with all the black surrounding them. On the hood, you're gonna get a really nice sharp body line on each side, and the center actually dips lower to give you better driver visibility when you're hitting the trails. So really cool design overall. Certainly doesn't look like much else on the road aside from its twin, the Lexus GX Overtrail. Now you're also gonna see on the side that plastic cuts its way into these fender arches just to protect some of the bodywork. Then we have a nice set of 18-inch wheels, satin black color, a Nitto Ridge grappler tire. Really good setup for this type of vehicle. And then you have the mud flaps back here. Kind of cool, they have like a strap on them as well, probably so you don't run them over when they get forward. You're gonna see a nice wide body design for these front and rear fender flares. Nice set of rock rails as well. Nice powder coating. Plastic trim in the lower portion of these doors with one sharp body line, black for the door handles and mirror caps, integrated turn signal, and then all black trim throughout the windows. Now I love the two-tone design as well. You can see how we have these two black stripes and then this off-white color for the roof. There's a sunroof up atop, and then I really like the design for this roof rack up above. Pretty nice design. And then for the side profile, it looks like what you would expect. Super boxy, super bold. Really can't complain. It's a neat looking off-roader. You see that black trim back here as well. Spoiler integrated with your light up above, and then a nice set of LED taillights. In back, you're gonna see more of the fender flare design to those mud flaps, and then plastic for the rear bumper. You have parking sensors, trailer hitch is all behind here. Then we have that iForce Max badge, blacked out Toyota and Land Cruiser. And overall, I mean, this thing's pretty sweet. Nothing like this on the road. You're also gonna have a button right here we can press, and it's gonna pop that, and you can get really good access into the cargo. I love how the Land Cruiser gives you that. Now there's no more swing gate like the old ones, but nonetheless, it's awesome you have this. But you will get a power liftgate on these, and then you can see the rubber liner. Now there's a little bit of storage here. Given it is a hybrid, you kind of have a high bump. So older dogs and things like that, it might be hard to get in and out of the back, but you're still gonna get pretty good amount of space, kind of like a Toyota 4Runner, so nothing too crazy, but about what you would expect. Now with the second row down, you can see what kind of space you're gonna get. With them up, you can see what that's gonna look like as well. I have a power outlet here, and pretty decent overall space. Now there's lights and speakers up on the top. You're gonna have your buttons as well to go ahead and close this. From here, let's go on to the interior. Now I love with the first edition, you get this soft touch material all throughout it, and you even see it says first edition. Got some stitching in your armrest, extra speakers for the JBL system. Now these seats will fold down nice and flat. You can then lift them up, and you can see how straight up they are. You're gonna get some smooth and perforated leather throughout the back seats. This can seat 3 people, and then we have an armrest and cup holders in the center. There's climate vents in the ceiling, and then the climate controls are back here with all your plugs and then extra storage. And these seats will recline quite a lot, so really nice amount of space you're gonna get. Hopping in back, at 5'11", I am sitting here with great amount of legroom and footroom, tons of headroom. And honestly, the seat reclining like this is a good place to be. So can't complain at all. It's a really good 2-row vehicle. And then from here, you can actually further adjust these seats They'll actually lock upwards as well, giving you a little bit more space into that rear. Now there's no third row option for a Land Cruiser, so you either need a 4Runner or the GX for that. Heading on to the front seat now, similar door panel, first edition, all the padding and soft touch materials, all your controls with memory seating, power control on the seats, and then the driver's seat even has a leg rest. So nice touch for that. Hopping inside, foot on the brake, let's fire it up. Engine will turn on along with all the electronics. And then we have a nice black leather wrapped steering wheel. You get that retro Toyota name in the center, Bluetooth and audio controls on the left side, cruise control over on the right. And then the screen in the center, pretty much what you would expect on every Toyota. You can control a few things and see all sorts of different information within the car. Hitting the OK icon, you're actually able to adjust the center screen. You can see a few different things. Popping over to the left side, you can adjust that as well. So I like overall what you get to depict in the gauge cluster. You're gonna get the stock on the right for windshield wipers, turn signal and headlights to the left, little sensor right in the center. And then we have our automatic headlights, fog lights, fuel cap, tail release, and then you can see the brake adjustments. Got an air vent, small heads-up display. This bezel is pretty neat. I like how it's integrated into the dash. It's not 100% just stuck on. Got the volume icon in this cool gray color. All soft touch plastic material up on the dash, kind of feels like rubber. And then this is all soft touch as well, feeling really nice. Got a cool trim piece, kind of looks like a camouflage rope. And then the center infotainment, basically what you've seen in every Toyota. You'll have to set it up to get more of this information, but you have quite a lot of good information. You have climate controls for rear and front, trip information, you can monitor a few things. And then I really like, if you go back into off-road, you need a really cool depiction. So you have drive modes, pitch and roll meter, your brake, along with your throttle, and then you can see the steering wheel as well. So pretty neat setup. All sorts of settings, kind of what you would expect. And then going into reverse, we have our backup camera and top down. Now if I start moving, you can see on the left side, it actually gets to clear and tells you what is underneath the car. So that is a great touch for off-roading. When we go into drive, you can also toggle the view icon. We now have that front view. It'll also do the same thing over on that top-down view. And then we have different controls as well. You can adjust the different views. So pretty sweet overall. You can tap the view icon as well, and that'll cycle through a few different screens. Back into park, we have our climate vents in the center, heated and ventilated seating. You have all the different toggles in the center with their own screen. Makes it super easy to adjust. Dual zone temperature, some plugs and wireless phone charging. And then we have our drive mode select. So I can easily adjust this to all 3 drive modes. And then we have our multi-terrain select. You can adjust that as well. We have downhill assist. In the multi-terrain, you can now see your off-road drive modes. So that is a really great touch. Downhill assist and crawl, and then we have our tow haul mode down below. Some leather material on the shifter with your electronic park and brake and brake hold. Then we have our 4-wheel drive control for 4 low, locking rear and center diff, traction control, as well as the stabilizer disconnect, storage and cup holders, and then we have the cool box here. So you can keep some colder items like food when you're going out on a trail. And then we have on the right side a nice little cubby. One last look. This is a sweet interior, huge step up from the basic trim level. This is a really nice interior. Cool looking seats, it says Land Cruiser as well. Just a simple headliner with a smaller sunroof with a manual sunshade. We have all those controls, and then you are gonna get the camera integrated into this rear view. Nice touch to see with garage door buttons underneath. All right, so setting off now in the Land Cruiser. Let's bump it into sport mode. Man, with the hybrid and turbo, this thing moves. This thing's got some serious power to it. That is super cool. We go back into the normal mode now. I like how well it drives. Now, all the Land Cruisers are gonna have this setup. It is so smooth and so powerful. Anyone who's knocking it for being a hybrid or a 4-cylinder, drive it. This thing drives so good. You have that instant electric power down low and the turbo power down low to where this thing just starts moving. Now this drive mode, pretty cool with the screen on it. Slow speed, you're gonna see the camera system turn on. So for off-roading, you know, you have the drive modes as well. You can hit multi-terrain select and actually configure all sort of different drive modes themselves for the off-road. Then go back into drive mode themselves for the on-road stuff. So it's a very versatile SUV. It scoots though. without even stressing the engine. That's something I really like. Obviously turbo engines, a lot of boost, but the electronics are really helping this thing just get up and move without just redlining the engine. Ride quality in this first edition is really nice. This is incredibly comfortable. These seats are so well padded. I have the ventilated seat on right now. Many adjustments to really get just absolutely perfect. Steering wheel feels great, and I love all the use of soft touch materials. I mean, this genuinely feels very, very nice, which is better for $80,000. But this is really nice to be in. A big step up from the bottom of the line, the 1958 edition, or 1750, I can't remember. But this is a really nice place to be, honestly. Now with the technology, you have like the lane keeping, all the cruise control, stuff like that. So it's just a nice place to be with all the modern things you're gonna want. Do another acceleration, doing the manual mode, you can actually shift with the stalk on the center. The car will yell at you to pay attention sometimes. Man, just effortless. This is genuinely really, really nice to drive. As far as just the normal driving, like I said, it's just comfortable. Even with these tires, you don't hear any road noise or anything. And even shaped like a brick, you don't really hear any road noise or wind noise. So it's cutting through the air fine. And you hear a little bit of the engine. You do hear the blow off noise a little bit. So it's nothing annoying to listen to. It doesn't sound like a wimpy 4-cylinder. It's honestly a pretty refined driving vehicle. Visibility is great too. You have all the huge glass. Of course, I love the camera back here. That's a huge plus. When you look over your right and left shoulder, really nothing all too bad looking around. It's easy to see around. The hood is super cool. The center dips down low. That way when you're off-roading, you can kind of see what's down there a little bit better. And when you're driving on the street, you can totally see that. It does feel like a more longer, narrower vehicle, but given you can totally tell where the farthest corners are, it feels pretty easy to pinpoint. So if you're gonna be going off-roading with this, which you should, if you're buying a Land Cruiser, you better be hitting the trails with this thing, utilizing all the four-wheel drive controls and all this fancy stuff. I mean, this definitely feels like it's gonna be something easy to place. Even with how these mirrors are located, you can see through them, which really helps just see like what's right next to your tire. So it's pretty nice to drive like that. Steering also feels really good. It's got enough weight to give you some confidence, but it's also light enough to be easy. I mean, this would be just a fantastic daily driver. You know, take the kids to school, go on a weekend adventure with the family, go on an off-road adventure with all your buddies. And then the most off-roading I can do in this car, hopefully we can hit the trails with one of these days. But even just going on some gravel, all those cameras pop up. I mean, you can just tell the suspension is set up to tackle any bump. It already feels at home and super smooth, even just slowly cruising over some gravel. This thing is super cool. I know it's expensive, but this thing is pretty sweet.